Alright, so this is a video kind of in response to some of the questions I was getting on my older video on running a 5700 XT in Indiana Jones in Linux. And first off, someone asked if I could get this working in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And unfortunately, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth doesn't work for the same reason that Alan Wake 2 didn't work at launch. It has something to do with mesh shaders, and during the shader compilation the game will crash, at least on the 5700 XT. I would assume everything older would also crash at that point. Somebody else had stated that it doesn't work with their RX 580 and they're getting an error message about a 16-bit float Vulkan extension. And I did some digging, and it does seem to be the reason for this is the RX 580 and I assume the other RX 500 graphics cards don't have a traditional hardware floating point 16 extension. And it appears that they're actually using Spear V to remap the F16 calculations. So I believe that's why you're getting that error, which again is unfortunate because from my understanding the RX 580 does have the ability to do those calculations. It's just calculated FP32 instead. And somebody else had asked if it's possible to do this in Doom Eternal. Now, I'm going to show you that it is possible, but I also want to expound on that. So, if you go over to, I have this running through Lutris. I am also going to run a game through Steam to show that the command does work in Steam as well. But here I have no environment variable set, so if I launch the game, okay, now that we're here at the main menu, we're going to go into our settings, video settings, and as you can see here, ray tracing is grayed out. So, let's quit the game. Now if we go to configure and system options, what you would normally do if you did have a graphics card that supported ray tracing is you would use the VKD3D feature level command. Now, the 5700 XT will crash if you try and set it to 12.2, so we'll set it to 12.1, which should be enough to still turn on ray tracing. So we'll launch that, and I already know that ray tracing will still be grayed out. Okay, so here we are at the main menu. Go into settings. This is with the VKD3D feature level 12.1 command, and as you can see, ray tracing is still grayed out. So we're going to quit again. Okay, now we're going to go back into system options. We're going to delete that. And we're going to use the radvperftest command from before. Save. And when we launch Doom Eternal, ray tracing will be enabled. Okay, here we are in the main menu using the radvperftest command. If we go over to video, here we can see ray tracing is enabled. I did turn it on. It is off again by default, or it actually asks you at the main menu if you want to turn it on or leave it off. And I'm actually going to turn it off because I would like to show you the performance really quickly. Okay, here we are. This is basically the first real level after the short tutorial. So here we are, 4K, basically high settings with a little mixture of ultra, but we're getting 100 FPS at 70% GPU usage. So we have some red headroom. So let's go ahead and try and turn on the ray tracing. So ray tracing is applied. And there are no ray tracing quality settings, it's just on or off. But now we're in the 90% usage, but we are still locked at 100 frames per second, which is what the monitor's capped at. So as you can see, I mean, that's a little stuttery, but as lots of things start popping up on screen, as imps keep throwing tons of fireballs, there are some slowdowns at times. So this is one of those situations where not a lot's not going on screen, it is perfectly playable. But as soon as a lot starts happening, your frame rate will absolutely tank. Alright, so for the next game, I wanted to check out a game on Steam. I'm going to be using Warhammer 40K Darktide right now. So this is also a game that supports ray tracing. Okay, so here we are at the main menu. And we go look at the options menu, video. You'll see that we have no ray tracing settings. Okay. So now let's back out. Now again, if we go ahead and we use this VKD3D feature level 12.1 command, we'll see the same thing. There won't be any ray tracing option. But we're going to go ahead and throw this in here. We're just going to close that and hit play. So this is not a Vulkan-based title, which is why when you're playing it, you're going to see in the top left VKD3D, because we are in fact translating from DirectX to Vulkan. Okay, here we are at the main menu after you're putting in the radv command, and you'll see here that ray tracing is now available to turn on. Now this game does use VKD3D because it is a DirectX 12 game. It's not a Vulkan title. We're translating Vulkan, or we're translating DirectX to Vulkan. So let's go ahead and start. So here we are in our game, getting about 100 frames per second. It will drop as soon as I jump down here.
To proceed.
Still holding pretty close to that 100. Okay. Just wanted to do a little quick walkthrough. We have no shiny puddles. This game does have a screen space reflections option. And in my opinion, these actually will look better than the ray trace reflections. But let's go ahead and restart this with ray tracing turned on. So the settings are still, we have ray tracing set to high, medium settings, depth of field off, motion blur off, and where are screen space reflections off, and blanked out because we have ray tracing turned on. So let's load on in, see how we're looking like. Okay, so again, we don't have any upscaling. I think we were having an issue with XESS, but I believe we're also having, on top of that, an issue with the global illumination. So I think it is an issue with this game in particular, where you should quit the game and then relaunch it. But let's go ahead and turn on FSR 3.1 to quality, just to have some sort of upscaling. And I tell you what, it is actually holding up a lot better than I thought it would. It might actually look better than the XESS that I was using. We're well above 30, so I don't think we have to worry about that dropping.
Damned poxwalker!
Slow-mo's so cool. So yeah, it's possible to play the game with ray traced reflections. I mean, come on. You can literally see the line where the oh, but at least we have ray traced reflections. Those puddles are gonna look so good. Oh man. Except, to be honest, I think the screen space reflections actually look better than the ray trace reflections in this game. So we're gonna go ahead and turn this off. Our frame rate's gonna skyrocket into the 90s, but we lost the reflections, so let's go back into here and turn on the screen space reflections to high. We're still going to be in the 80s, and I actually think the screen space reflections look better in this game than the ray traced ones. And you can get that at 90 frames per second when you're using FSR. Alright, for a third game, I decided let's check out the Monster Hunter Wilds benchmark. So let's just go through here. Do we want to use frame generation? No. Alright. Okay, so here we are at the main menu of the benchmark. We're using the VKD3D feature level equals DXR plus the RADV perf test command. And if we go into our options menu, ray tracing is still grayed out. So this is one of those games where you just can't get that running. I don't know if it's using some sort of product ID to determine whether or not you can turn on ray tracing, but no commands I have put in has let me turn that on. Not that I would even recommend it. I mean, this game is one of the worst optimized games we've ever seen, so yeah. And to finish up, I decided to try out NVIDIA's poster child, Cyberpunk 2077. With no launch commands. We're just going to go ahead and launch. Compile the Vulkan shaders real quick. No. Alright. So here you can see ray tracing is grayed out. Go ahead and quit, close the launcher, because there we go. And paste the Rad v perf test into Cyberpunk. I love how it's still apparently running in the background. Oh, I'm also running Legion. Whoops. Alright, so here we go. Now that we did the Rad v perf test, the ray tracing options are in fact here. And it's going to be an interesting one to test because not only does this have some of the most intensive ray tracing in the game, but it also has different quality settings. You can turn on just the shadows, just the illumination, just the reflections. So let's go ahead here and run. Let's go ahead and make sure that these settings aren't absolutely atrocious. Running FSR 2.1 quality out of the gate is a little bit rough, but okay. Go ahead and run a benchmark for a baseline. We're at 1080p with FSR quality. Basically at high settings. Crowds at medium. We'll turn off phone green actually. Definitely as well. Okay. So let's go ahead and run this benchmark for a baseline. I'll either fast forward or skip to the end so you don't have to watch the whole benchmark. Okay, so as you can see, we're basically pegged at the frame limit that I've set at 100. We probably didn't really need to use the FSR. Okay, now that we're back in the video settings, I am going to leave FSR 2.1 because of what we're about to do. So we're going to go ahead and turn on ray tracing. And we have a lot of different options here now. But let's go ahead and just try and turn on ray traced reflections. And see what kind of performance we get. Okay, so with ray trace reflections on, we basically went from a 100 FPS cap to 37 average. Again, we are just using ray traced reflections. Out of curiosity, though, who wants to see some path tracing? Oh my goodness. We did it. Let's go ahead and switch this to XCSS, and we're just gonna put it on performance. I think that's the only shot we have. Oh boy. Or should I run it native? No, let's try this with XCSS at least first. So here we are at the end of the benchmark run with XCSS performance, getting an average of 15 frames per second. Let's go ahead and run it again, but you know, we're not about upscaling here. We're gonna run this native 1080p path tracing with a 5700 XT. Okay. Oh yeah, this is looking great. Just throw some frame gen on that and I'll be fine. I'll probably cut this to around where the puddle is outside. Oh boy. I mean, to be honest, 4 FPS is better than I thought we were gonna get.
El ayuntamiento de Night City les recuerda que el distrito de Pacífica permanece fuera de la jurisdicción de la policía de Night City. No ingresen a Pacífica bajo ningún concepto.
Oh, I didn't realize we're maxing out our VRAM. Wonder what would happen if we ran it at low settings with path tracing. Maybe do medium. Oh no, let's straight up go low. Maxed out RT, no upscaling. What kind of twisted individual would do this? This guy. Let's turn those off because we don't care about clouds. All right. Alright, so we're not hitting the VRAM limit, but turns out VRAM wasn't the bottleneck. I didn't mean for the video to get this long, but before I knew it, it ended up being about 30 minutes. But I hope this was a fun one, and if you made it this far, let me know in the comments.